If you clicked on this video, we have at least one thing in common. We hate corporate America and all of its absurdity. And why wouldn't we? Everything from fake core values to the superficial mask your coworkers wear while backstabbing you on their way up the corporate ladder, to your employer finding more and more ways to pay you less. I like to describe corporate America as a mix between a prison, an insane asylum, and a cult. Because if you really think about it, these people control where you live, how often you have free time, how much you can afford, there's some grand mythical leader that you have to bow down to, a set of values or rules you're supposed to live by, and let's be honest, if you spent significant time in an office environment, you'll realize just how fucking crazy these people are and how many of these corporate cocksuckers are just like zoo animals, digging hole after hole and then turning around and throwing that dirt right back into the hole they just dug up. In the end, getting absolutely nowhere. Let me share a quick story. I worked at a publicly traded, well-known market-leading company that was like a cult. So brainwashed for most of the employees that this company would have them take best places to work surveys and they would often win. Now, at face value, it doesn't seem like such a nefarious thing, does it? But how these meaningless best places to work awards were used just shows you how truly evil corporate America is and that they are definitely not your friend. I overheard recruiters lowballing applicants, promising that while they are paying market rate, it's okay because they're going to be working at the best company. And oh boy, wouldn't you rather work at the best company versus getting your actual market value to pay the bills? It didn't stop there. These awards were also used in performance reviews to convince current employees that they shouldn't look elsewhere because who knows what that scary job market might hold. It might even be a big raise. To summarize, the employees wanted their company to look good, but in doing so, screwed themselves out of raises, made it easier for them to be replaced, and allowed this company to lowball new hires. Just goes to show that the true believers in your office aren't only annoying, but are also taking money away from you and themselves. Stuff like this is just the tip of the iceberg. One of my new favorites is the hybrid work model, which is a complete joke. Despite the majority of employees wanting to work from home for a significantly improved work-life balance and saving time and money on their commute, companies are forcing their rats back into the cubicle. Why are they doing this? Well, if you don't know, there are three primary reasons. 1, because it's easier for your boss to watch you. 2, because your employer is stuck in a long-term office lease. And 3, that's not as commonly known, but there are certain tax write-offs your employer gets, but the office space must be actively used a certain percentage of the time and by a certain percentage of the employees. So yeah, your employer could make your life easier, save you time and money, but fuck you. They want to make sure you're running the hamster wheel fast enough and they need those tax breaks. And another one of my new favorites is when remote companies will pay you less depending upon where you work. Now, how does this make sense? Are they trying to find the best talent that's going to provide the most value to their company and therefore just pay what that talent cost? Or are they trying to find more and more excuses to basically say, well, John, you live in Idaho. Do we really need to pay you the same if you live in California? Now, what difference does it make to us? Nothing really. We just want to have an excuse to pay you 40% less and also ensure that you're dependent on this job long term. God forbid you get ahead and have the option to leave if we bully you too much. It's all a bunch of bullshit. In fact, the recruiting process is where you really get to see these people for who they are. Recruiters get on these big power trips, they give you the runaround on compensation and what they can actually pay, and they make it seem like that you should just be happy they even took the call. They often run late or reschedule on you, but if you were to do something like that, well, good luck hearing from that company again. Let's be honest, the true terror really starts once you get into the office, whether that's physically or virtually. The internal politics, the gotcha questions, the trying to backstab everyone so you get the next raise, the stupid boss who doesn't even know what they're doing but also trying to tell you how to do your job, the nonstop reporting and busy work and documentation, the worthless meetings that pop up on your calendar last minute that cover absolutely nothing of importance whatsoever, the happy hours after work because, boy, after spending 8 or 9 hours with these fucking people, wouldn't you rather spend another 3 or 4 hours with them versus sitting at home and trying to decompress from the daily beating? Then there are those performance reviews we talked about earlier. And if you don't know, these aren't designed to help you grow and get better at your job and ultimately get you promoted. No. It's the opposite of that. They are designed to create arbitrary reasons to convince you that you don't deserve to get a raise or be promoted because you haven't met X number of years of experience, or there's some fake core value you didn't hit a 5 out of 5 on, or there's some team feedback where someone else is trying to get promoted and therefore they put you down to make themselves look good. And the list goes on, all designed to pay you less. Because the truth about corporate America is, getting raises and getting promoted has absolutely nothing to do with your skill set, absolutely nothing to do with the fact of you coming in early or staying late, and only has to do with how well you play a political game. Now, if you aren't aware a political game is going on, well, unfortunately, you've already lost. I've witnessed employees with absolutely no experience go from being a junior contributor to a vice president in 5 years, only for the reason that they learned how to take data, projects, and information from others, repackage it, and present it to the executives as often as possible. Because an executive loves nothing more than hearing good news, and the person that's giving them the good news is the person that gets the credit. And this story is probably the same for every single middle manager you've ever had to work with. There's an easy way to tell that these people are extremely full of shit. Because despite going on LinkedIn and tooting their own horn and talking about the millions of dollars they've created at whatever worthless company they work for, they don't actually know how to create any real value, because if they did, they would start their own company and make millions of dollars themselves. But they don't do that. Instead, they come to these meetings where the poor rat was working all night trying to put together a last-minute presentation for them, one they're probably not even really paying attention to, and all they do is go on these big power plays, making sure that every person in that meeting knows they're the big badass that needs to be sucked up to. I simply ask, how can anyone have any respect for these people? They almost never provide value of any kind. And how about the company executives? Let's talk about these people. If you've ever had the pleasure of working with an executive directly, then you'll know the vast majority of them are complete fucking cocksuckers. And they give absolutely zero fucks about you, that's for sure. I was once in a big meeting at that best places to work company I talked about before, and my coworker was giving a presentation to the CEO. He wasn't speaking loud enough for him to hear, apparently, because the CEO yelled, "Speak louder," and then put his hand up next to his ear and waited upwards. Keep in mind, this is the same arrogant douchebag that got a standing ovation at the all-company meeting just a couple of months earlier. Yeah, definitely a guy I really respect. These are just a few of the anecdotes that I want to share here on YouTube, so please, like this video if you hate your job and understand that corporate America is pretty much screwing us all. And feel free to subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a series of videos breaking down every aspect of corporate American life, why it sucks, and having a big fucking laugh about it.